All right, that takes us to our next topic, which is how to once and for all deal with ganking in Elite. So ganking or griefing or any version of player killing is a continuous issue in any MMO. It's often discussed in Elite with participants on both sides of various debates or discussions talking past each other, sort of ignoring different things. People that are on the Care Bear side are like, hey, this and that and the other, and sort of ignore the fact that the sort of the PvP community has like a right to want to do stuff and are kind of bored because they don't have enough stuff to do. And people on the killing, griefing, ganking, you know, asshole, whatever, however you want to name it. So, and just for the record, I've had people before say like, oh, you say Care Bear, that's pejorative. I'm a Care Bear in this game. I don't enjoy hunting other players in this game. I enjoy doing PvE content in Elite. I would do PvP content only if it's like sort of prearranged and it's like, okay, everybody's down with it, like CQC and this, that, and the other. I don't think Care Bear is a bad term. So I'm sorry if that offends people. I don't mean it in a offensive way. I am a proud Care Bear. I enjoy this game for the PvE content side of it. So sorry, just that disclaimer. But people on both sides sort of talk past each other. And this is not at all unique to Elite. Just last week, Talking in Stations, which is the premier podcast for EVE, the game which I've played for years and enjoyed, they did a show entitled Calm Down, Griefer. It's linked below in the show notes. But unlike other games, Elite has the tools built into it to completely neutralize this problem. Obviously, it's easy just to play in solo or private group, but that's not necessarily, needed by any means. With just about any ship, even a stock small ship, a savvy player can almost always evade being player killed. The problem is that the players most likely to be player killed are the very ones who do not have access to the information to avoid getting player killed. These same players are also more likely to be put off by the experience and either A, go into solo mode, or B, leave the game altogether. Now, either way, they're deprived of some of the joy of being in sort of open mode of the game, and we're deprived of their presence in the community, as in they're not buying stuff, so that's money lost, revenue lost for the game that could make it better for all of us. But also, they're not interacting with people if they're in solo mode, which sort of deprives us of a more rich experience. I don't want this game to feel like a ghost town. I want this game to feel alive and vibrant. I want more and more and more players. Now, various player groups offer classes on how to evade a PK, but again, the people who most need this information are the ones that don't know to look for it. They don't know about the cult of the murder goose. They don't know, Loose Screws is doing some kind of evade, ganking, whatever. They don't know about the Paladin Consortium that does their class or this group or that group or all these other groups. To me, I think the obvious answer is for FDEV to actually incorporate this as an aspect of the new player onboarding experience, the tutorial programs, the whatever. I think there should be some sort of a video, and Frontier can reach out to the player community and say like, hey, Paladin Consortium, Cult of the Murder Goose, Sinbad, I think does one, Loose Screws, this group, that group, these dozen groups. Put together stuff. We're going to make a short video or whatever that we're going to, put out as a resource that there's a link in the game. People can see the video. It doesn't matter what platform they play on. We put it through YouTube, whatever. And it's like, okay, there'll be a process as part of the tutorial where it's like, A, see this video, whatever. And B, here are some real practical sort of experiences where there's a tutorial sort of module or whatever that shows this stuff. And what do I mean that they need to show? Number one, explain the aspects of a player kill, as well as various game modes and instancing. Number two, teach the new players situational awareness and NPC versus PC icons. So just know what's up with that. Number three, demonstrate the difference of an NPC versus PC interdictions. If you get interdicted by an NPC, my grandma can win that. But if you get interdicted by a player, that's a whole way harder thing. Like the thing shifts entirely, the balance shifts, and the PC, the player, the other player's most likely going to win. They need to teach new players to submit to interdictions and take evasive maneuvers while explaining the various aspects of low wake versus high wake and how to execute each. Depending on the math of what you're doing, maybe, you just have to get to a certain location. You might want a low wake. Other situations, you want to bug out in high wake, whatever. Teach new players about various tools used by the player killers, i.e. mass locking, or grom bombs or various other things so that players can be armed with the knowledge. New players. Most people that are listening to this show, you already know this stuff, so you're fine. But the problem is the brand new players that are going to get turned off and go and leave. We need to help them know how to protect themselves, because the fact of the matter is, if most SEALs, brand new players in their little starter sideties, knew what we know, they would evade. I go to CG Systems and troll gankers all day long, laughing at them drunk in chat and mocking them mercilessly. So many of them hate me because I just have fun trolling the fuck out of them. I'll go in there and I'll jump in and get interdicted and be in an instance with 4 or 5 players and get out. Because if you know what you're doing, this is not about me being skilled. This is just knowing basic evasion techniques. If new players knew this, then what would happen is, number one, the gankers would get bored and move on to something else to do, either go grief people in another game or go do something else in this game. And I for the record, I put up a thread saying, hey, Frontier, you need to give the PvP community other fun things to do, because if you give them something to do, maybe a lot of them will stop griefing and only just the most 100% dedicated dickheads will continue to do that, and then we can figure out how to handle that with a crime and punishment system. But Frontier seems reluctant to do that, in which case, all right, let's at least make sure that all of the noobs have the information to survive, because if 9 out of 10 SEAL clubbing incidents end with the guy getting away and the griefer getting pissed off and frustrated, maybe they'll move on to something else. So let's start off with Tweaked. Hop in.
Yeah, I'm not sure that a tutorial would do the trick, because most new players don't really pay a lot of attention to the tutorials per se, and this would have to be a very intricate tutorial, because it's probably a 4, 5, 6 steps to actually get good at escaping like that. It's not overly complicated, but knowing how to set your hotkeys and all that kind of stuff, it would be good to have it there, because people would they'd have a way to look at it. But if only there was a way to get new players. I mean, new players don't even know that all these content creators are out here. They don't know about Elite Week and Loose Screws and Lave Radio and Flight Assist and
Cult of the Murder Goose and the Paladin Consortium, exactly. People that put on these symposiums. Yeah.
That's right. They don't know about all this stuff. So how do we get that information out there to them? That has been really the question for a long time. I don't know that it's on. I'm kind of torn. Part of me says a tutorial can't hurt, but part of me also thinks that's kind of our jobs as veteran commanders in the game to go to Desiat and to go to these places and not only defend them when it starts to happening, but to try to talk to them and teach them what we know and maybe recruit them and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of part of the game too. So I just don't know that a tutorial would be the end of it all, but I don't think it would hurt. That's for sure.
Right on, Roy.
It's funny, but this is the kind of thing that actually I think the older versions of Elite that came with manuals could solve for easier. I mean, for me, some of those older games I mentioned, the ones that came after Elite 1984, more and more came with books, and that was half the fun, was reading the book and the stories in the book. And maybe the analogy today would be having a video or some videos that are produced by Frontier to be watched by new players of Elite, where they can at least be demonstrating some of this stuff, or have the community help make them or whatever. But I agree that the tutorial in and of itself, it may be too complex, or they may not want to put the effort into that tool, when maybe they could make a video that that everybody. It's almost like a hunter safety video. Like there's some activities in real life that you don't let people go do until they've sat through a training class.
How about,
and it doesn't have to be the in-game tutorial.
How about I throw it to you this way? What if Frontier were to put out a free manual, literally a free manual for every person that purchases Elite that says, here's 20 pages or 30 pages of like information to learn. Here is awesome free, like awesome art from the SPVFA or from Stellar Screenshots or whatever. Here is 3 or 4 or 6 videos on this. Here are, you know, a very cool, like, hey, destinations in Elite, and have an INRA base, have a Thargoid site, have a Guardian site, have a whatever. That could be an amazing, like, if, yes, and it's here. And here is weekly destinations, new places to see, new this, new that. Here's a link, here's the video, and here's the location. Go out there and find it. And also, while you're at it, here's how you learn how to make griefers cry, because player killers, it have absolutely next to no chance of actually killing you if you know what the hell you're doing. Malt, hop in on this.
Yeah, to back up Tweaked with what he was saying, I think the community should take a little responsibility, might be the wrong word, because you're not responsible for, but to help out the new players, you know, the trick is, how do you reach the new players? Not all of them will come to Twitch or YouTube to seek help. So how do we reach these guys who need help? But I'm one of these people who are very community focused, and I think we should try and find a way to reach these guys and keep them in the game, because I know some of the people get disheartened when things like ganking happens. Elite does have multiple modes, like solo, private, so you can play with friends, alone, but wouldn't it be great if everyone could just play online, the whole community, and you know, you could help each other and stuff, and I think that would be awesome. It's not likely, I get that, but it would be awesome.
But here's the thing, it is likely. I mean, it's not likely to be 100% successful, but if you make the effort, it's 100% likely to be a small percent successful. It's, you know, and the higher percent up you go, the less percent likely it is to be. But what if 20%, 40%, 50%, whatever, we grow the online open community over time, and it snowballs, and it's like, it's down to us to make the change. It's that fucking Michael Jackson song, you know, look at the man in the mirror. Let's make a change. Let's make it happen. Wolf, get in on this.
This gets back into the whole discussion that we had when we were on System Chat with Boss Lady B about how the game itself has got a learning cliff that you have to climb up. And this is one of those steps that's in that cliff. And it would be really awesome, like Roy was saying, is if the information for how to do some of these things, like how, you know, basic tactics for one, not getting caught by somebody who wants to rip you out, first of all. 2, once that happens, calm down, here's what you got to do, and you notionally be perfectly fine. But it needs to be presented in a way that is fundamentally eye-catching and easy for somebody completely new to see and do, because I'll readily admit, when I first started playing the game, I didn't do all the training missions. Who did all of them? Come on.
Most people don't. We have a lot of new players in OPIX, and a good portion of them do 1 or 2 of them, and then they accidentally end up out of the starter system and they're into the game. So yeah, you're not alone there.
The trick is to put out a product that has enough candy that it gets people to sort of be tricked into eating their vegetables. You put out a product that has some awesome SPVFA videos and pictures and stuff, and people go, ooh, this is cool, and you know, is on the launcher, and people can click and like save their place, like, oh, there's 50 steps to this. I'm on step 12. Ooh, step 3 is an awesome, oh, look at that video. I want to see that. What is that? Is that an alien? They call that a Thargoid? Ooh, like, you tease them with the candy and you give them the information, and then when they get in contact with an asshole who just I'm an FDL nerd that wants to kill somebody in a fucking, Sidewinder, then the guy goes like, hi Wake, haha, fuck you, bye-bye. And, submit to your interdiction, hi Wake out, bye. And then now what? You got nothing. Now you're frustrated. Now you move on to either A, griefing people in another game, or B, finding a non-griefer activity to do in this game. Either which way, I'm happy because you've stopped being an asshole.
The thing about submit and high wake, that nugget is the most powerful bit of the whole training, I think. And you could even put that on one of those hollow posters at the station. Like you could boil it down into some kind of public awareness slogan and make it that simple.